Tesla once said that if you want to understand the universe, you must think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Most people hear those words and treat them like poetry. Something mystical, something vague, something interesting but not useful. But Tesla was pointing to something much deeper. He believed reality was not random. He believed there were patterns underneath everything. Patterns of movement, patterns of force, patterns of energy. And if that is true, then your life is not shaped only by what you do. It is also shaped by the state you live in every day. The energy you carry, the rhythm of your mind, the vibration of your thoughts, the signals you absorb from the world around you. Most people never question this. They only look at results. They look at money, at success, at failure, at discipline, at relationships, at health, but they do not look beneath the surface. They do not ask what invisible pattern is producing those visible outcomes. That is the real discussion. Because your life has a frequency, not just in some spiritual sense. In a practical sense, the way you think changes the chemistry of your body. The chemistry of your body changes your energy. Your energy affects your focus. Your focus affects your actions. Your actions shape your future. So when Tesla spoke about energy, frequency, and vibration, maybe he was not giving us a riddle. Maybe he was giving us a law. And if you understand that law, you stop living by accident. You begin to live with intention. In this video, we are going to break that idea into 5 powerful rules. 5 rules that can help you control your reality through vibration. Not fantasy, not empty motivation. Real inner control. Because the truth is simple. When your internal world is chaotic, your external world follows. And when your internal world becomes clear, focused, and disciplined, your reality begins to change with it. The first rule is this: everything begins with your state. Before you change your life, you must change the state you live in. Most people try to force results while staying in a broken emotional pattern. They wake up tired. They check their phone. They flood their mind with noise. They rush into the day stressed and distracted. Then they wonder why their thinking is weak, why their discipline disappears, why their mood collapses, why their goals feel heavy. But look closely. Their actions are not the first problem. Their state is. Your state is the mental and emotional condition from which all action begins. If your state is fear, your choices will reflect fear. If your state is stress, your body will tighten, your breathing will shrink, and your mind will become reactive. If your state is resentment, even small tasks will feel heavy. If your state is calm and clear, everything changes. The same day looks different. The same challenge feels lighter. The same problem becomes manageable. This is why 2 people can face the same situation and respond completely differently. One breaks, one adapts. The external event is the same. The internal frequency is different. That is why mastering your state is not optional. It is the beginning of everything. You cannot build a strong life on a weak inner pattern. You cannot create peace while feeding stress every morning. You cannot ask for focus while training your mind to live in distraction. So the first rule is simple. Control your state before you try to control your life. Do not wait for the world to calm down first. Do not wait for the perfect mood. Do not wait to feel inspired. Learn to reset yourself. Sometimes that means silence. Sometimes that means breathing deeply for a few minutes. Sometimes that means stepping away from digital noise. Sometimes that means sitting alone and refusing to let chaos enter your mind. The point is not to feel good all the time. The point is to stop being ruled by every passing emotional storm. Because once your state controls you, your reality controls you too. The second rule is this: protect your mind from noise. Most people do not realize how much of their suffering is imported. It does not start inside them. It enters from the outside. Through screens, through opinions, through news, through endless comparison, through pointless entertainment, through people who radiate confusion, negativity, and emotional instability. And then they wonder why they feel mentally weak. Your mind is not just a storage space. It is a receiver. It is always picking up signals. Every conversation affects you. Every song affects you. Every environment affects you. Every feed you scroll through affects you. And if you allow garbage to enter all day, then confusion becomes your normal state. That is why so many people feel overstimulated but underpowered. Their attention is scattered. Their nervous system is overloaded. Their thoughts are not their own anymore. They are just reactions to whatever entered their mind last. A powerful person is not someone who absorbs everything. A powerful person is someone who chooses carefully what to absorb. That is real mental strength. Not reacting to every headline. Not chasing every trend. Not letting every opinion live in your head rent-free. A weak mind is open to everything. A strong mind has filters. That means you must become more selective. Selective with information. Selective with energy. Selective with people. Selective with what you watch before sleep. Selective with what you hear first thing in the morning. Because every signal carries a frequency. And over time, the frequency around you becomes the frequency within you. This is why some environments make you feel drained instantly, and why other environments make you feel sharper, calmer, and stronger. The room matters. The words matter. The atmosphere matters. So if you want to change your life, stop asking only what you should add. Also ask what you should remove. What noise is weakening your mind every day? What habits are lowering your standard? What distractions are stealing your force? You do not always need more motivation. Sometimes you just need less interference. The third rule is this: your body is part of your frequency. Many people want a strong mind while living in a physically broken pattern. They sleep badly. They breathe shallowly. They sit all day. They overload themselves with stimulation. They ignore recovery. They live in tension. Then they ask why their focus is poor. But the mind is not floating in empty space. It lives in the body. Your thoughts are influenced by your physical condition. When your body is exhausted, your mind becomes fragile. When your nervous system is overwhelmed, your thinking becomes impulsive. When your breathing is tight, your emotions become harder to manage. When your body is inflamed, heavy, and neglected, your mental clarity drops. So if you want to raise your vibration, do not ignore the physical side of life. Your body is not separate from your purpose. It supports it. A clean body supports a clear signal. A rested body supports stable emotion. A strong body supports disciplined action. This does not mean perfection. It means respect. Respect for sleep. Respect for movement. Respect for breath. Respect for what you consume. Respect for recovery. Even your posture affects your state. Notice what happens when you collapse your shoulders, lower your head, and breathe weakly. Your energy drops. Now notice what happens when you stand upright, breathe deeply, and bring awareness back into the body. Something changes immediately. Your signal changes. This is why the strongest people often have rituals that look simple from the outside. Walking, training, getting sunlight, keeping order, protecting sleep, eating with awareness, limiting overstimulation. These things are not boring basics. They are forms of frequency management. And most people ignore them because they want dramatic answers. But your reality is usually built by repeated basics, not by occasional extremes. If your body is constantly dysregulated, your mind will struggle to stay coherent. And if your mind is incoherent, your actions will be inconsistent. So take care of the instrument through which your energy moves. Because the body is not a side issue. It is the container of your signal. The fourth rule is this: repetition creates resonance. People love intense moments. One powerful speech, one emotional breakthrough, one productive morning, one night of motivation. But one moment changes very little. Your life is not shaped by intensity. It is shaped by repetition. What you think repeatedly becomes your mindset. What you do repeatedly becomes your identity. What you tolerate repeatedly becomes your standard. This is where most people fail. They want transformation without repetition. They want results without rhythm. They want a new reality while feeding the same old pattern every day. But reality does not respond to what you say once. It responds to what you practice consistently. This is resonance. When a thought is repeated enough, it becomes familiar. When a behavior is repeated enough, it becomes automatic. When a feeling is repeated enough, it begins to define how you experience the world. That is why negative people often live inside the same emotional cycles for years. Not because they are cursed, but because they rehearse the same frequency daily. The same fear, the same excuses, the same self-doubt, the same emotional reactions, the same avoidance, and repetition turns it into identity. But the same law works in your favor too. If you repeat discipline, discipline becomes natural. If you repeat focused work, focus becomes easier. If you repeat silence, the mind becomes clearer. If you repeat courage, fear loses authority. At first, the new pattern feels unnatural. That is normal, because the old pattern has more momentum. But if you stay with the new one long enough, the signal strengthens. And eventually, your new standard becomes stronger than your old comfort. That is how real change happens. Quietly, gradually, through repeated alignment. This is why daily routines matter so much. Not because routines are glamorous, but because repetition programs your system. Your morning routine is a signal. Your self-talk is a signal. Your habits are signals. Your standards are signals. And all of them are telling your mind and body who you are becoming. So ask yourself this: what are you repeating every day? Because whatever you repeat, you reinforce. And whatever you reinforce, you become. The fifth rule is this: align your energy with your goal. This is where everything comes together. Most people say they want something. They say they want success, peace, strength, discipline, focus, purpose, but their daily energy is in conflict with that goal. They want peace, but they feed chaos. They want success, but they rehearse laziness. They want confidence, but they speak to themselves with weakness. They want a better life, but they keep protecting the habits that are destroying it. That is misalignment. And misalignment creates inner friction. You feel it when you know what you should do, but keep choosing the opposite. You feel it when your words and actions do not match. You feel it when part of you wants growth, but another part is still addicted to comfort. This is one of the biggest reasons people stay stuck. Not because they lack potential, but because their energy is divided. One part of them is moving forward. Another part is pulling backward. And when your signal is mixed, your results become mixed too. Alignment means your thoughts, behaviors, environment, and direction begin working together. Not perfectly, but honestly. If your goal is clarity, then your habits must support clarity. If your goal is strength, then your routine must support strength. If your goal is peace, then your inputs must support peace. You cannot build one reality while practicing another. Your life always reveals what you are truly aligned with. Not what you say, not what you post, not what you wish, what you actually align with. This is why intentional people often appear more powerful. Not because they have no struggles, but because they reduce contradiction. Their choices point in one direction. Their habits support their values. Their environment supports their focus. Their actions support their mission. That is power, and that is what changes reality. Because once your energy becomes coherent, your actions gain force. Decision-making becomes easier. Discipline becomes lighter. Progress becomes more stable. Not because life stops being hard, but because you stop fighting yourself. So if you want to control your reality, begin with alignment. Ask yourself what your daily life is truly supporting. Ask yourself whether your environment strengthens your goal or sabotages it. Ask yourself whether your energy matches the future you claim to want. Because if it does not, that is where the work begins. Now step back and look at the full picture. Tesla believed that energy, frequency, and vibration were the keys to understanding reality. Whether you interpret that scientifically, psychologically, or spiritually, one thing is clear. Your life is deeply affected by the patterns you live in. Your state matters. Your environment matters. Your body matters. Your repetition matters. Your alignment matters. And when those things are neglected, life feels heavy, chaotic, and directionless. But when those things are trained, something shifts. You become harder to shake, harder to distract, harder to control, harder to break, because you are no longer just reacting to life. You are shaping the frequency from which you live. That is the real secret. Not magic, not shortcuts, not empty slogans. Inner order, a disciplined signal, a mind that is no longer open to every form of noise, a body that supports clarity, a life built through repetition and alignment. Most people spend years trying to change external results without changing internal patterns. And that is why they stay stuck. They want a new life with an old frequency. But it does not work like that. A new life requires a new signal. So start there. Protect your energy. Clean your inputs. Train your body. Repeat the right habits. Align your life with your mission. Do that long enough, and your reality begins to reflect the change. Because in the end, your life is not built only by what you want. It is built by what you repeatedly embody. And that is why vibration matters.